everyone, and welcome back to Between Realities. It is so great to have you here with us today. My name is Alex VR. I am joined here by my co-host Skiva. Skiva, how the hell are you, my friend?
I'm great, dude. It's Friday. It's Between Realities Day, and I am super stoked today
Amen.
to be here.
Amen, dude.
Mhm.
Friday is definitely the day.
Yeah.
Between Realities Day, I was explaining to Skiva before the show started that it is the day of the week that I always forget to eat breakfast because I wake up, I'm thinking about the show, I start promoting it, I do a bunch of shit, and then I got to get in the car and come over here, and I haven't eaten anything, and it's a nightmare every time. So I'm trying to work on my Friday morning routines a little bit to make sure I eat well before I come into this, but it's just because I'm so excited, and that's the point I'm trying to make. I know that everyone who's joined us here today is excited as well, and thank you so much for being here. Lista VR, first in the chat as always, Glitch Fandango, the homie who has been crushing episodes of Between Realities. I can't wait to talk to you a little bit more, Glitch Fandango, and get some of your perspective on the show after seeing so many episodes back to back to back. So thanks
Yes.
so much.
Thank
man.
you, Glitch, for all of your support and all your tweets and everything.
Yeah,
your
dude.
support means the world to us.
Yeah, Dark Angel, how's it going, dude? It's great to see you as well. Saw you in GT stream earlier, and made me want to play some Population One.
Mm.
So we've got a show today,
Yes,
and we
do.
are quite excited about it. When we were in Vegas, one of the highlights of that trip when we went to CES was experiencing the Void together, which
Yes.
is an incredible, if you haven't heard of this place, it's an incredible location-based VR experience, or was, or is, or we'll find out, I guess. And one of the guys responsible for it is joining us today. He is also responsible for this new attraction, which we've been talking about, Jump VR, which is to simulate a true wingsuit jumping experience. So we're really excited to talk to him. Everybody, please welcome to Between Realities, James Jensen.
Hello,
James.
everybody.
Hello,
hey,
James.
guys.
Thank you for joining us today, sir. CEO of Jump VR and co-founder of The Void, man. It is great to have somebody who is so involved in the VR community here with us today. How you doing, man?
I'm doing awesome, guys. Even though we're in a weird environment, things are still going really well. And I think we have some cool stuff to talk about today on the future of virtual reality and what I like to call hyper reality. So thanks for having me on the show, guys.
Absolutely. Hyper reality.
Great to have you.
I like it. Yeah, it's arcades, right? Like arcade experiences this past year, nobody did them. You know what I mean? And The Void, for those who are unfamiliar, is or was, and you can clarify, I guess, a little bit on that on the current status of it, but is I'm going to say an incredible experience. I mean, it is a VR experience, but it's in a space where you are walking like you're freely able to move around wherever you want, and there's actors in the space that will hand you stuff as characters in game hand you items, and you have to work together in ways that are only possible in a place like this. And we had so much fun when we went to it last year, but they haven't really been possible, right? Because the COVID happened and people stopped spending time together in small enclosed spaces and stuff. And I remember reading some headlines about the Void that were kind of sad. So, I mean, maybe you can tell us a little bit about where the Void is now, if it's still around, and if we can expect to see that at all.
I could talk to that a little bit, but I actually broke away from the Void in 2018 early on and started developing Jump. As far as where the Void is at and status wise, I'm not sure. I'm hearing rumors that they could potentially come back. So they're not completely out of the mix, but we had 20 plus locations worldwide and everything was looking awesome before the pandemic. But I believe that they've gotten away back out of that, and hopefully we see them soon again. And I wish the best of luck to them.
Yeah, well, thanks for touching on it. Yeah, I know you're not with them anymore, but I mean, being a co-founder of something like this, we've got to at least get your perspective on it, because we were blown
Absolutely.
away when we did this. I mean, I personally really hope that they do come back, because they were taking VR experiences and really pushing them to the next level, which we can see that you are doing with your current project, right? With Jump. I mean, you're trying to take that VR experience and, as you coined it, make it a hyper reality experience. So, in what ways can Jump? What ways is Jump going to do this?
Yeah, so the Void was really just the beginning of what's possible here, guys. And the reason why I call it hyper reality, I actually didn't coin that term. It was a term that a French philosopher actually created early late 1800s or early 1900s. And it's a reality that's virtual, but your mind doesn't know that it's virtual. It's so realistic that you can go all the way there. And the void, we were doing some things that showed evidence that that was going to happen, right? Like we mixed in heat and wind and vibration and smells into the environment, and it was all just for fun and entertainment. And it was amazing. Like, you actually felt like you were in the location. You felt like you were in Star Wars, that you were really fighting Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Um, and what was cool is what I noticed was the environment allowed people to really go there and to be completely immersed once we started introducing all of those physical effects. And the physical effects do a lot more than just entertainment value. The physical effects actually, from what I understand, mitigate a lot of sickness in virtual reality, and it makes sense now, because you need other things to prove to you that the reality that you're seeing is real. So when you have smell, you have heat or wind or something like that, it's evidence that the reality that you're looking at or hearing is real. So then your body doesn't think you're hallucinating and you need to throw up. But so we actually didn't have hardly any people come out of the void that felt motion sickness or anything like that, and it was because of that reason. They were triangulating space naturally, firing neurons naturally, and there was enough evidence for them to believe that they were actually there, which was awesome. Totally accidental on my part. I just wanted to be inside of Star Wars and like fight stuff.
Can we turn up on our microphone just
Yes.
automatically? I guess we're a little quiet.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Sweet.
There we go.
Let us know if this. Oh, I could.
Yeah, glitch. I wish you could have experienced Ghostbusters. It's actually my favorite experience the Void ever did, and I very vividly have a memory now of fighting Stay Puft Marshmallow Man at the end with my two sons, and we blew burnt marshmallow smell into the environment once you defeated him, and
Nice.
that marshmallow smell like anchored that moment in my mind to capture it as a memory. So one of the things that I noticed when people came out of the void is how open they were to new possibilities. Like, everything was all of a sudden possible again. We had this saying that like adults went in one side and kids came out the other side, and it was very true.
That's great.
And so I was wondering like what is going on inside the experience that's allowing this to happen. And it was a multiple of things, but what I concluded on and what my hypothesis is it puts people in a state of presence. Hyper reality does, a state of, like, people call it flow state, where you're totally present, totally aware. You're not thinking about the building you just walked into, or the fight you just had, or what you need to do next. Like, you are all the way there. So it's a great opportunity for all kinds of experiences.
Yeah, you mentioning it like as a memory, like I have a memory now of fighting the Stay Puft Marshmallow. Like, that really is the magic of VR. And you mentioned, adding those auxiliary like sensory experiences as a means to like help convince your brain that what you're experiencing in the headset is actually happening, as a means to deter motion sickness. And I really could not agree more. I do think that is at the root a huge problem with the motion sickness when it comes to VR. I remember when we were at CES, not doing the Void, but at actual CES, and I was demoing the Yaw
Motion simulator
chair.
chair.
It's like a bowl that you roll around in. And there was the only reason I did not lose my shit on that thing is because there was a fan blowing on me, and it helped me feel like I was actually on a roller coaster. If that fan would have gotten taken away, I know I would have lost it. Like, I would have had to like rip my headset off and like hopefully not throw up.
Yeah, when your brain computes that something is wrong, that certain senses aren't picking up the experience happening, it thinks it's been poisoned, and it tries to throw up and remove the poison. And so every bit of extra immersion you can add in not only makes the experience more fun, but it makes it so it's less, you're less chance of getting any kind of motion sickness or headaches or anything. It really sells the experience to your body.
Danny Hunkley, how's it going, man? Thanks for being here. Gamertag VR sliding in. How's it going, brother? And Paradise Decay Steam Curator King, thank you for being here as well. Is it really that your body thinks it's poisoned? Because that is so weird.
It does. it thinks that you've taken some like weird mushrooms or you ate something weird and you're hallucinating and you need to throw it up.
What? Oh my god! I cannot believe that.
Yeah.
How did I not know
It's
this?
just
I don't
like a
know.
natural response, right? Like it makes sense if you're laying down and you're like having some kind of weird trip with visuals and audio and your body's not feeling any of that. Your body's gonna be like, hey, time out. Like something's up.
Mhm.
Like you need to get
Yeah,
rid of something.
your
So,
brain like goes through and like reduces everything. It's
It
like,
does.
okay, what could have
yeah,
happened? This note, that note, this
Yep.
note, that note.
There's
And
poison
you
in me.
must
Get
you
it
must
out.
have eaten
Get it
poison.
out. Yep.
Wow, that's so
Yeah.
primal. That's
Yeah,
so
it
primal. We're
is.
like
It is.
challenging humanity by going into VR.
yep. I actually can't do typical VR for very long. I get sick really fast, and so I need evidence that the world that I'm seeing is real. And then like the warping around that they're doing with home VR stuff, I can warp like 4 or 5 times, and I'm like, I'm out.
Right.
Oh
Uh,
wow. Wow.
yeah, it's pretty bad.
So that's interesting that you have a like a full VR company and some of the experiences you can't even handle.
Right.
Yeah, with Jump, and we'll get into it with Jump. I think that's the opportunity to is taking the next steps into hyper reality, and I hope to make a shift actually in the market. Um, Virtual reality has been put kind of in this bucket of it's for VR nerds or gamers or entertainment only. It's in this big box, but the jump simulation will not feel like a video game. I could tell you guys I've experienced this thing. It feels like you're doing it in reality. It feels one to one to what's happening
Wow.
in reality. It's
So how do you get some of the magic behind this? How do you fully trick the brain by putting on a headset and an outfit? How do you make it so you really feel like you've jumped off a building, right? Or not a building, but
Right.
a mountain and you're flying around? Because G forces and things like that are kind of hard to mimic in virtual reality.
Dude, all of this stuff is hard to mimic.
Yeah.
We were talking about the void, and it's like you have to like even just like applying heat, right? Or the sense of smell. Like it can't
Yeah.
be some foul, weird smell. Like it has to fucking smell like burnt marshmallows if
Yeah.
it's gonna
Yeah.
land. And I remember we did Jumanji, and a monkey in the game handed me a torch. And when I reached out and touched the torch and felt it and pulled on it, there was some resistance on that arm that didn't translate into my game. And goddamn, were they close, right? Like they were so close. They were there, but I could tell. And it broke it. And even though they were there handing me a torch in the right moment, I felt the guy's arm, not the monkey. And I was like, like it did create a slight disconnect, even when attempting to make it a more immersive
Your
experience.
body's clever.
Yeah, so
It
you
knows.
really,
It
you
figures
really
things out.
do have to do things very, very delicately.
Absolutely. Yeah. Your body and your mind. And I've been around for 45 years now, and my body knows what reality is. And so if it doesn't match up, then it feels weird. Um,
Mhm.
you know, Paradise, I think, chimed in on some of the sickness stuff, and driving, for instance, is a good thing to look at, because if you were to jump in somebody's sports car in the back seat, if a sports car had a back seat, and then they were to drive up the canyon as fast as they possibly could, you would probably be very sick because you're in the back seat. Somebody else is driving, but if you're the driver, no problem. You can drive as fast as you want, and you're good. So that's the other piece of this that you have to consider is you need to be the driver. Anything that's on rails can make you sick almost immediately. If I see something on rails, I'll never do it. I'm never going to do some kind of VR
Yeah.
roller coaster thing, or like
Yeah.
flying over California thing in Disney's pretty good. It doesn't make me sick, but they're not doing a lot of motion or movement on that. It's on rails. So with Jump, it's not on rails at all. You can fly wherever you want into the experience, which is incredible.
Wow.
So a lot of the things that we're doing to match up is I can't give away, kind of the illusion, just like we didn't with a void. I don't really want people to know what's going on, because it kind of ruins the illusion, and people are thinking about how that process is happening instead of just enjoying what's happening in the virtual world. But you actually step up to the edge. You put on a helmet, and you don't see the edge, but you step up to the edge, and you literally have to trust jump like you're jumping into a pool, and
Wow.
and
That's so cool.
you end up falling straight down, and then your wingsuit actually feels full of air, and you kind of pill out, and then you can fly wherever you want in the experience. it's an authentic experience to wingsuit jumping, except for we can back it all the way off because we're in a virtual environment, so we can add padding and make you do a good job so you don't run into stuff. But then you go through a parachute moment at the end too. So you fly down, pull your parachute. The whole simulator kind of puts you into a parachute position where you actually have toggles and you can parachute down to the ground and you land. You haven't gone anywhere in the physical world, by the way, but your mind will believe there was evidence of me standing on the edge. There's evidence of me flying because there's wind, there's effects, there's smells. And then there's evidence of me going into a parachute position and changing speed. And then there's evidence of my feet landing back on the ground. When you take off your helmet, you'll be back in the exact same room that you landed or that you took off from.
So speaking of the helmet, maybe you can tell us a little bit about the helmet, because here, I'm going to show it right here now. On the front page of your website, you got this absolutely beautiful helmet. It looks like almost like a wingsuit helmet, but inside is a virtual reality headset, correct? As well as who knows what other trade secrets are in there. But I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. And I'd love to hear about how this was made or how you created it, the thoughts behind it.
Yeah, I like to. I'm not going to actually go out and, maybe in the future I'll go out and try to figure out how to make HMD. We explored some of that with the Void early on, but there's a lot of people trying to accomplish that and a lot of really great headsets out there in the market. And so I spend more time on, making an enclosure and a design that allows us to have other technologies involved, but also fits with the application. And then that design can also be used to make the headset more susceptible to a public audience abuse. Using a consumer level product that you buy at Walmart probably isn't good for a few thousand people. Taking it on, taking it off, putting it through a beating, and then also the cleaning mechanics behind all of that. And so you really have to build your own kind of enclosure. And the tactile side of that with the experience needs to match too. It's a very important piece to step up to the edge and zip down your zippers on your wingsuit as the last thing that you do and slide on a helmet that feels like a real wingsuit helmet and see the visuals. It doesn't feel like you are putting on a VR headset. It feels like you're putting on a helmet and you're seeing a world outside of that you're going to jump into.
Wow. Absolutely amazing. I mean, I can't imagine the goal of trying to make a VR experience feel exactly the same as real life, right? Like we play a lot of VR games. Me and Alex play tons and tons of games, and some of these games are extremely immersive. They really do certain things right that sell the world to you. But I can't imagine feeling the wind blowing through a windsuit, feeling like my body is actually changing directions and I'm pulling a parachute and I'm falling to the ground and my feet are touching the floor. I mean, what goes into attempting to figure this stuff out? I mean, like, were you just sitting there one day and you're like, I got it?
Kind of, guys. I do. I mean, my background is in fine arts and design and stuff like that. So I draw up a lot of my concepts and proof them out, and then we build 3D models and simulations to see if they're feasible. And so and maybe I'm a time traveler and I go forward in the future like Nikola Tesla and check these things out and then come back and draw them. I don't know. Maybe that's what I do. But it is an interesting thing. One of the things that I did in my research is I actually went out and did iFly. If you guys have seen the iFly tunnels, they actually throw a real wind at you that lifts your body up into a little cylinder tube thing, and you actually get to experience flight, kind of. And they had a VR version of that, and they had a helmet that was outfitted with a Samsung Gear. And if you guys know, yeah, immediately I heard you like, ooh. Okay, so they had a helmet, and they're gonna put a Samsung Gear on my face, and it is a 360 video, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna be so ill from this. There's no possible way I'm gonna be able to recover from this for like 2 or 3 days. and they put me in the experience. It was by the way, it was like $90 for a 3-minute experience. And so they put me in this
Wow.
experience, and there's no like moment. I didn't decide to actually jump into this or do anything. They just like kind of brought me into the wind tunnel and then pushed a button. And then all of a sudden I was in, the 360 video, and there was wind hitting me, and I was flying kind of, it was a 360 video of somebody else's flight. And so I didn't have any control over it. And at one point I was kind of flying sideways, and I got out of the experience. They just turn it off, and then they kind of bring you out of the wind tunnel. So it's very abrupt, front and back, not very believable as far as that goes. But two things I got out of it: I came out of the experience totally fine, not sick at all, and I'll get to why that is. And secondly, it was fairly believable. I felt like, I was wingsuiting with this other guy in the video. I just didn't have any control over it. So I was actually really excited. I'm like, wow, if that was real, this stuff we're doing at Jump is going to be over the top.
Mhm.
And so getting back to not feeling sick, I equate that to I have no frame of reference. I've literally never wingsuit jumped. I've never jumped out of an airplane. And my body was just like, sure, this is happening.
This is what it feels like to do this.
That's
Yeah,
interesting. I
exactly.
can't believe that. I came into this interview convinced that you were probably just a wingsuit guy, and you just like you did this once and you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. Everyone has to experience this. But that's not the case. You've never actually been in an actual wingsuit.
Nope. And
Wow.
I probably never will. I have 5 kids. I'm 45. I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
see my grandkids. And I don't want to divert my whole life to actually go do this in the physical world. I'm fine doing it in virtual reality. That's why if you look on our website, you can see kind of the professionals I've brought on to our advisory board. I want Marshall Miller and Luke Akins. Luke Akins is the guy that jumped, from 25,000 feet and landed in this like net on the earth. And Marshall's done over 10,000 base jumps. It's
Wow.
really important to put those guys in to the experience and have them tell me that this is real. And we're really close right now. Marshall's
Wow.
been through the experience. He's like, oh yeah. The one piece actually that I was concerned about the most is how we transition a person from the physical jump into the virtual fall. Was a really big hurdle, because we want that to feel as real as possible of you actually jumping headfirst and falling. And he said we nailed it. So we're just fine tuning.
Wow.
We're just fine tuning the flight, and the flight is pretty crazy because we're actually using real fluid dynamics and physics. So we're actually taking your real physics and then extending it into the virtual world. So yeah, it's really cool to figure out how to wingsuit fly, because wingsuits are hard to fly, actually.
Yeah, I would think so.
What's up, Andy? Obscure Nerd VR is here. How's it going, dude? It's great
How's
to
it
see
going,
you in
buddy?
the chat.
Hey guys.
It's crazy, man, because in the description of this episode, I touched on exactly that. It's like VR oftentimes gives us an opportunity to do shit that would otherwise literally take years of training or be extremely fucking dangerous.
Yeah.
Like wingsuiting is no joke. If you're not insanely trained and okay with dying, you probably shouldn't do it. Like because
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
nuts, dude. And you just like collapse your arms.
You're jumping
and
off a
legs and
mountain with
you're gonna fall like a rock.
with a suit that has wings on it, and you're gliding. I mean, this is no joke. There's no second lives here. There's no extra chances. If you hit something, that's it.
And it ain't
It's over.
wings. It's
No
like,
continuing.
We call it wingsuit,
Right,
but it's
right.
like flying squirrel suit.
Yeah.
Like it's like
Yeah.
it's like parachute suit.
Yeah.
Like you're not flying. You're just parachuting at an angle. Like, it's insanity. It is insanity.
Pretty crazy, guys. And coming back to what I found at the Void, people coming out and being in a flow state or a state of presence, taking that to the next level. The reason why these guys actually risk their lives and do this multiple times is because it actually puts them in that flow state. It puts them in a state of presence where they're connected to all things. I didn't understand that really to its fullest extent with wingsuit jumping. I asked Marshall, I'm like, why would you want to do this multiple times? Even if I trained and spent all of the money, if I did the 500 hours of jumping out of an airplane and I spent the thousands of dollars to get a wingsuit and I stepped up to the edge on a cliff and I threw myself off and I lived, wouldn't I just want to kind of like check that box off and be like, I'm never doing that again. But as soon as I made the jump inside of our simulator and I got to get a taste of what he experiences, I was like, oh yeah, I understand why you want to risk your life to do this now. I understand why you go out 3 times a week and throw yourself off of a cliff, because the feeling is incredible.
Damn, dude.
Wow.
Paradise Decay in the chat was wondering if you've ever played Rush.
Rush. I've seen
It's a
it.
Wingsuit game.
Yep.
Wingsuit VR game. It's on pretty much everything. It's on PSVR. It's on even Oculus Go. Yeah. They really got that thing on everything. And I was kind of curious about that too. You would like almost the first thing I thought of was, wow, I wonder if this guy was inspired by the game Rush. But, yeah, maybe not.
Oh yeah, and Danny, you do have to do 250 regular jumps. And I found the mechanic that qualifies you, I think, from talking to the squirrel wingsuit guys. We actually use real wingsuits, by the way. We've modified them a bit, because when you really wingsuit, the wingsuit actually has to fill full of air through these ducts, and it actually gets to a rigid form when you're flying in the air. So we did some magic and we figured out how to do that in the simulator. But that is kind of, I think you have to actually prove that you've done that many jumps, and then they will build a wingsuit for you.
Wow.
Unless you just go on eBay and buy a wingsuit and jump off. Marshall won't ever be with any of those people when that happens, because you're very, very highly likely that you're not going to see tomorrow.
I'll tell you this. I would rather, any day, I would rather try your Jump VR simulation than actually try some wingsuit stuff, because that is scary, man. That's really, really scary. Even with an experience as basic as Rush, it's super fun, but I mean, you don't have a wingsuit on, you don't feel the wind, and it's scary. You know, you hit the ground and it's pretty scary. So, I mean, I would definitely rather.
You know, the problem was with Rush for me was holding my arms out like this for like 10 minutes. You know,
See, I didn't do that.
It was like my arms were burning, like my shoulders. I was like, I only
turned that
Rush
off
like once or twice.
I just made it like head.
Like just controllers or whatever. Yeah.
So that's totally different in reality, and then also in Jump. The wingsuit actually fills full of air, so it's almost like laying on a bed, and you just articulate it. So you don't actually have to hold your arms out once the wingsuit fills full of air. You're just kind of a rigid wing almost. So you don't have any of that either inside of what we're talking about.
Interesting. Oh, that's really cool, man. That's really cool. I am really, really excited to eventually be able to hop into something like this. I think the question probably on a few people's minds, I know it's on mine, is with all of this stuff with the pandemic. I mean, this has got to be the absolute worst time to attempt to launch a location-based VR experience. What's your plan here? Do you see this clearing up soon with this vaccine, and you be able to open some locations? Do you currently have open locations, or is this all coming to fruition?
Public open facilities are coming. We just have a prototype that we're building, that we built over the last year, that we're hosting location partners and some investors at right now. But it isn't a good environment with the whole pandemic going on. On the positive side, it's allowed our designers and developers actually really focus on the prototype, and we were able to make something incredibly, insanely awesome over the last year. And on as far as our locations go, we've designed the experience from day one, because we started before the pandemic, and we are looking at people's sensitivity to that even after COVID's over and everybody has a vaccine, and hopefully we haven't turned into zombies. Going past that, and people's sensitivity inside the Jump, you're actually not even next to each other. You're actually you're in completely separate rooms, even though that you can see each other.
It's multiplayer.
You separate space.
It's multiplayer.
What the fuck?
I didn't know that.
How come we haven't talked about that?
It has to be. It absolutely has to be. Yeah, you'll be able to get in there with 3 of your best friends and race to the bottom if you want.
Oh, that's pretty serious, man.
That is sick. This whole time I'm imagining that I'm doing this like on my own. Like I can't imagine like looking over, hey, Like your homie flies past you, like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a whole new level. That's a
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
new level.
You can see
Wow.
each other. You can hear each other with the microphones, and then you can kind of fly wherever you want, follow each other, try different things. Absolutely has to be that way. We had multiplayer in the Void, and it bumps up the experience quite a bit when you can share it with somebody. It makes sense. Like when we share things with people and we have a conversation after, it's 100 times better than if we did it by ourselves. And that's one of the problems with at-home virtual reality. Once we get more simulations and virtual reality with at-home systems that are inclusive of other people that are around you, I think you'll see it actually catch on a lot more. But
Yeah.
to be in your house and you have people over, your kids, and you like seclude yourself inside of this virtual reality headset, it's not great. It's not fun.
Yeah.
Yep. That's a big problem with like the party VR party, like what you take turns playing Beat Saber or something, like, it's like the extent of it mostly, it's hard to really enjoy VR in a room full of people unless everyone's participating somehow.
Right.
So I
Yep.
feel that 100%. I'm Not That Spy VR. Thanks for joining us here on Between Realities, your new favorite podcast. An absolute pleasure to have you here with us. Please tune in again and subscribe and like.
Nice.
Thank you for being here, sir. And Steve Knows. Dude, what's up, brother? Steve Knows.
What's up, Steve?
Steve Knows is pretty good at Beat Saber also, by the way. Just throwing that out there. I played Beat Saber with him a few days ago, and the guy can hang. I mean, he's no Alex VR, right? But he can hang. He's good. So thanks for being here, Steve. So James, I'm kind of curious about the environment in Jump. Like, is this like a fully digital, like like a game created environment, kind of like you expect to see the Void? Do you guys use any like real world footage or anything like that? Because from what I can see in this video, it looks really, really good. Like,
yeah.
like it looks clean.
So, I mean, if you guys look up Unreal Engine 5, if you haven't already, like the stuff that they're doing is incredible. Like there's literally no limit to polygon count anymore. So that allows us to bring in real LiDAR photogrammetry scans of these locations and jump them. The rocks at the location are going to be in the exact same place that they are in the real location. So we'll take you to the Tiananmen Mountains in China, and you can jump off the top of that. We're actually going to be using drone capture and fixed wing airplanes to get really high density LiDAR scans of the real locations, and then bringing those into the Unreal Engine, and then allowing you to fly anywhere. We're probably going to soup them up, like extra value mill, soup them up, make them look good, add other features to them that aren't necessarily in the real world. And then we can also play with the fluid dynamics and other physics inside of the simulation once we get this up and going. So for instance, like jumping down the falls in what are the falls? I'm losing what are the epic falls? It's one of the 5.
Niagara?
Yes, Niagara. Thank you. I don't know why I didn't think of that. But I had a dream that we actually built a simulation where you can walk out and then jump off the Niagara Falls and then fly down the river and underneath the bridge and stuff. If anybody's ever been there, it's beautiful. But that's actually not physically possible. If you were to jump off that in a wingsuit, there's not enough height. You would just literally go into the water. But inside of Jump, we can manipulate some of that. Most of the wingsuit jumps in reality are like 30 seconds, maybe 60 seconds long. And our jumps are going to be, minutes long in some cases.
So it feels like real physics, but in reality, you guys are still getting weird with it and like letting you fly over the water way too fucking long. And like, you probably have that like rock with the hole in it, like on every level, right? Because you got to go for that pinhole.
Yeah.
Shoot. Like I'm going through that hole every time, like I'm like looking at it as I jump. I'm going through that thing.
Yep. Exactly. So the environments, the environment side of things, we will be targeting real locations, but that doesn't mean we need to stay there. I mean, I play Warzone, and I think it would be awesome to jump out of the Warzone airplane and fly down to the map. Like, I don't know. It sounds like a good idea to me.
Damn. So I'm actually hyped now. Like I was like, stoked about it, looking forward to it. Sounds great. Sounds cool, whatever. But like going with homies and like all like doing like a Void experience, like where you see each other and like I remember doing the Void. Skiva's a big dude. Okay. Like not everybody who watches our show knows that, but you may not notice it just like here. But if we stand up next to each other, it's like the guy just towers over me. Like, how tall are you? 6'7"?
6'7", yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
And in VR, that's not usually represented. Like if we jump into Hyperdash or something, we're sitting there eye to eye.
Yeah, and we did the Void. I was actually I was Karen Gillan. Thank you, by the way, for letting me be Karen Gillan because I think she's the most beautiful woman in the world. But
yeah, he was a lady, and he was tall. Like his size was actually represented in the Void, which was kind of cool. It was like, it wasn't just like, hey, it's the same avatar. We're all on the same avatar. It was like, no, that's Skiva. Like, obviously, there he is. He's way taller than me. So I'm stoked. That multiplayer experience was amazing. So I am loving the idea of being able to go do this with a group of homies and everybody jump off at the same time and everybody's hooting and hollering, and damn, that sounds like a good time.
Yeah. So when things get back to normal a little bit, people are traveling again, location-based VR experiences are a thing again. Where are people gonna go to experience this?
We haven't chosen a location partner for our flagship yet, but we have a lot of interest. And so we're really trying to find the best partner for that. It will be what we call adjacent to the park. So it's going to be probably next to an entertainment district or a theme park. Those locations did the best for us at the Void. And we want our flagship location to be kind of at that kind of quality, that high level quality. So you can expect to see something like that. We plan to open a location this year, potentially, and we'll obviously have our corporate office here in Utah that we'll have open from time to time to do beta testing on new experiences.
So maybe California, maybe
Vegas,
Florida, maybe Vegas. Not Phoenix though. I'm like trying to.
Yeah,
there's like nowhere here. Fuck, come on.
Well, we got that. we got that iSky dive thing here, and I just, after hearing it's a 3DOF, phone VR system, I'm all set. Yeah, but I wanna play with what
I don't know if good is the word.
Maybe
it's probably visually the
better
worst
than you
VR
thought.
experience I've ever had. Visually, it was the worst VR experience I've ever had, but being in a wind tunnel and having VR was pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, damn, I'm looking forward to trying this.
Let's do it. So, we'll just wait for the invitations to show up in the mail whenever you guys open.
Yes.
We'll be ready, and we'll come out and we'll make a video, and it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
God.
Sounds good, guys. I think there's a lot of things that we can do, based on, I love your guys' title, and I was excited to be on this show, being on Between Realities. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I guess one of the things that I want to focus on this, that I didn't have the opportunity through the Void, because we kind of got into a lane and then just things got out of hand a little bit. But I definitely want to have persistence in the experience. So every single jump that you do, you can actually level up. So even though we are not a pro, I guess we'll create settings that are for Marshall, like these pro wingsuit guys, but you're not going to come in on their settings. You're going to come in on beginner level settings where you do a great job. You don't run into stuff. But there will be progression through jump. So you'll actually be able to progress and qualify for other wingsuits that will allow you to have more fidelity in the experience.
Dang.
And then
so this is something you want people to come back to.
Absolutely. When we develop content, it's not going to be like, hey, I tried the Dubai experience and it was fun. It's non-linear. So we will have a Dubai location, and there'll be probably 20 different locations you can jump inside of that location. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
There'll be 20 different jump points in the same piece of content. So we might capture the Grand Canyon and then have 10 different jump points in the Grand Canyon, and you can jump out of an airplane or a helicopter.
Wow.
So having persistence is important to me. And then also having a digital pathway for you to get upgrades that then correspond to physical things that you can get in reality, and then extending that into game engine, at home. So there'll be a pre-experience and post-experience, and I hope to have collaboration between game developers that would potentially allow you to earn something or find something in the game that you can use at Jump, and then vice versa. You get something in Jump and you qualify for something in the game that you take home. Like, why not? Like, this is a digital world.
Yes.
Stuff. Yes.
Yes to all of this shit, dude. That is the coolest stuff. Like, I am so for that. If I could, I can imagine having maybe a profile or something. I have like my jump profile. It keeps track of all my jumps. My max speed and shit is in there. My unlocks are in there. Maybe there's something on the app that I can do to prepare myself for my jump visit. I can like do the challenges or whatever, so I can level up before I go there.
Wingsuit, like
Exactly.
skins and all that stuff.
Maybe by signing up for your newsletter, I get an exclusive something for in the game, like things like that. Like I feel like those are the best ways to get people engaged and to get them stoked and to create that persistence, kind of like you said, because the void is not that. The void is you go and experience it and you're like, that was cool.
Yeah.
Now you might want to go back with the void and do a different void experience, but you're probably not going to do the same void experience. And it sounds like this is very different, where you will be able to do the same location jump and have it different every single time.
Yeah. I mean, not only do you have different jump points from the same piece of content or the same location, but there's variability in that, because I can go left, I can go right, I can go blaze past these goats, mountain goats that are on the side of the mountain. So yeah, I think for me, it's really important to have that persistence. And I actually see a future where, and some people are seeing this too, is where your digital world and your physical world are pretty blended together. Like the Oasis almost.
Absolutely.
James Holiday created the Oasis. Why can't James Jensen create the Oasis?
There you go. All right.
I mean, we're here for it, literally. Like that is why we are here. You could tell. You read the name, you read the title of this podcast, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, these guys get it. We are here for it. We are here for it. So we're super, super excited about the work that you're doing, man.
Let me ask you this. I have a question. Let's say I went to the Jump VR, and I did this 50 times. I got really good at it, hitting high scores. I'm on the leaderboard.
Oh, yeah. I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, I know.
Do you think I'd be able to suit up in an actual wingsuit and jump off and pretty much be the same? Is it that one-to-one?
We are going to highlight that in our waivers that you are not qualified to jump in.
Just like all the Call of Duty kids think that they're like experts in military strategy.
But is there a potential? And I think absolutely there is a potential. The technology needs to come a bit further, and by collecting data and using real physics and things like that, even kind of small wins that we have with the pros is we can capture some of these locations, and they could potentially try things that they wouldn't try in reality, just because they can't get the math to work out right and the physics, and so they don't even attempt it. Like, it's close, but hey, I'm gonna die, so I'm not gonna try to go into that ravine. Right. But inside of Jump, we have the same location, so we could say they would be like, oh yeah, let's see what that would feel like to actually take that line and go through that. So there's a potential, but
I'll tell you what,
definitely not be claiming that you can do anything like that.
When I was playing Nintendo 64 and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater came out, that was like the shit. Okay, everyone played Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, and I'll tell you what, every kid that I knew went out and bought a fucking skateboard.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, just by participating in it and getting the knowledge and understanding, okay, oh, that's a kickflip, oh, that's a pop shove it, oh, this is grinding, oh, that's these guys, these are these locations. You start to involve yourself in it, and then real interest gets kicked up. So add VR to the mix, and it's only more profound. It only hits harder when those moments kind of get kicked up, and the inspiration, in my opinion, would be easy to kick up. Maybe not the exact skill, right? But once you go and do it a couple times, you might be like, you know what, this is sick, and I'm ready to jump out of a plane now. Maybe you'll start skydiving after that. So I do see potential, maybe not for training, right, but for getting people to realize that, oh, wait a second, maybe this isn't something that would suck. Maybe I would love a lifestyle full of adrenaline.
Well, I'll tell you what, I know personally from I've always wanted to skydive, right, and I've never been able to because there's like a 220-pound weight limit on it. I'm a tall, somewhat round dude. So I'm not able to actually experience those things.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah.
I never thought about that. We just
barely put an ex-NFL player in this, and I could barely zip his sleeves down. He had to weigh at least 310 pounds, and he jumped and flew and totally blew his mind.
Nice. So that's incredible. This is going to enable people to do things that, I mean, VR does. It enables people to do things that they would never do in real life. I obviously would never walk into a zombie apocalypse in real life, willing, and trying to put myself in that danger. But, being able to experience things that I maybe could have, but have some kind of limitation in the real world. But now I can actually feel what that feeling is like. So that's an incredible thing.
Yeah, I mean, I actually had a elder lady that came to demo the experience. She came with another group, and she was probably in her 70s. Most people that do wingsuit jumping in the real world are like dad bods or better, or athletic women do this. Like, there's not probably a 70-year-old woman that's going to dive into.
That visual is hilarious.
Maybe there is. Maybe there's an ultra, ripped 70-year-old woman that's going to dive into, a wingsuit. I don't know. But we're providing that for people, right? Later in their years, and be able to do something like this, I think is incredible. And be able to do it. Even I'm 45, I want to do it, but there's no way I'm doing it in reality. And it holds true, guys, to what we were talking in the beginning is when you do hyper reality and you have evidence that is happening, you build a memory. So I now have a memory of wingsuit and base jumping, and I've done it dozens of times now, and it's incredible. So it's cool to have that memory. It almost makes me like, well, if Marshall's telling me this is real, if the pros are telling me this is real, then why go risk my life? My mind doesn't know any different. Right. My brain doesn't know any different from the simulation. So, yeah, that's the opportunity.
Makes sense to me. Your pal in VR, what's up? Your pal, good to see you, dude. He's got look at him, verified. Like, what the hell?
Verified.
Your pal. Like, dude, congrats, man. Like, you crushed it on your channel, dude. Yeah. Like, so proud of the work that you did. Great job.
Absolutely, dude.
And thanks for being here.
Yep.
So I'm kind of curious, or I'm like thinking about this jump thing. We've been talking about it for a while. The Void, it was very much like inclusive as far as like family and stuff like that, right? Like that's like anyone, like mom, dad, daughter, kid, like everybody, let's go. I mean, there might have been like a 12-year-old age, I don't remember, but point is, I'm thinking here is that it was basically for everyone. Who's Jump for? Like, do you think Jump is for everyone? Like, is it for grandma, or is it for those thrill seekers? Like who's doing this?
Yeah, I mean, our target audience is obviously going to be the thrill seekers, and having some of the partners that we have, those will be our first target audience. Is getting all the millions of followers that watch this stuff and wish that they could do it. Having all of them come, but I think what you'll see when people leave their experience, they'll get like a GoPro style video of their experience too. Everybody leaves with a video, but when they share that out, I think we're going to see a lot bigger range of demographic that come and do this, and we'll be able to wingsuit people that are probably the same ages that we did with the Void. So, 10 to 11, all the way up to however old.
Okay, that's cool. Wow, can you imagine being 10 and having a wingsuit experience that's true to life?
I can't. It's crazy to me, dude. I have put my 6-year-old in these VR experiences that I can't. Like when I was 6, I was playing like Maze Craze on Atari 2600. I'm like, oh, look at me. That's my dot, and I have to move my dot over to that dot. Right now, my 6-year-old has like a Valve Index with like a ridiculous field of view. She's sitting in a car with a steering wheel. She's like whipping around corners. You know what I mean? Screaming. Woo! Like I can't imagine when I was that age if that were the baseline of technology. Imagine what she's going to be experiencing when she's our age.
It's going to be exponentially different than the change we saw. The change that we saw will be less impactful than the change that she's going to see from the time she's her age now to the time we are now.
Unbelievable.
So hold the fuck on, everybody, because shit is getting crazy.
Pepper. In that line too, guys, like I was saying, I hope to make a shift in the market when people experience Jump that, hey, entertainment is amazing and it's cool and it's really fun, but this is not necessary. The technology is not necessarily for that. Like wingsuit jumping in reality would be a life-changing experience. So why wouldn't wingsuiting in virtual reality be a life-changing experience, especially if it's so real that you build a memory? And so using the technology to allow a person to overcome their fears, whatever we correlate that to, whether that's fears of buying a new house or changing jobs or starting a business, taking 2 steps into the darkness and jumping could represent to an individual that they can achieve more than they think they can, right? Like we can make those kind of correlations. So if you fast forward 20 years and this is the standard, who's to say that we're not past the textbooks, we're past looking at things on screens, and the new education system is all experiential based. You literally like plug in and you take the headset off and you're like, I know kung fu. Like,
dude, you're making me emotional. Honestly, like seriously, like I hear you, like 100%. I hear you, and I totally am right there with you. Yes, keep pushing on that. I think we're going there. Like I do. I think what it means to experience stuff and what it means to be human is going to be radically challenged in the future by VR and by other technologies that emerge as a result of VR. Yeah, all of that stuff. Danny Hunkley had a question that I wanted to ask you. He was wondering, because right now all of the jump experiences are rooted in the real world. Have you guys ever thought about or considered any like fantasy style, like riding through the trench of the Death Star instead of it being a river or something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. And that was one of the things that we are going to touch on too. As far as persistence and progressing, we've been talking about doing kind of like a jump park, and you can jump, and it's more surreal. There's more terrain. There's black diamonds, if you will, if you were to compare it to skiing, that you could get actually better at the experience and kind of level up. So having those type of fantasy environments, and then also licensing IP. I would guess that there's probably a group of people that would want to be Batman and jump off the clock tower in Gotham City. I don't know. Maybe
just maybe there might be somebody out there
fly around like Iron Man. I don't know. There's probably a couple of people in the world that would want to do
that. Wow. Well, that would be cool. And I guess we will be waiting with bated breath to see what kind of experiences emerge out of this thing.
Hell yeah. I'm stoked, man. I cannot wait. The second I see one of these places open, I'm there.
Yeah,
I'm there.
For real. Hey, Delirium. Drew, how's it going, Drew? Good to see you, bro.
What's up, man?
Thanks for making it in here. So you guys are saying this year, so that's pretty cool. Hopefully people will be traveling by then. We're like trying to like make some loose plans to maybe do some traveling this year. So
yeah, PAX East,
we're talking about
they're trying to hold a physical expo this year, and hopefully with the vaccine that gets to happen. I know I am very much looking forward to experiencing these things again and not just seeing pictures and videos of them. I really, there's nothing like going and networking face to face with people and actually trying these products and trying these experiences and, and really meeting the people with the passions.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping that this is the case,
Yeah.
So and if that's the case, if we all survive PAX East, maybe that's your green light to open your to open the first jump.
I'm excited about that. We went to PAX a few times, me and my boys, and it's an awesome experience. I'm really looking forward to getting some of that stuff back. And the location partners that I'm talking to with Jump, just to give a little positive out there, is they're actually seeing a lot of people wanting to come back to the location. It's not a matter of if people are coming back or if there's a sensitivity. They're maxing out on their their occupancy levels. So if they're running at 30%, they're maxing out. They're selling out on all of their reservations, and people they want to come back. I mean, we've been cooped up for a long time. So they're predicting they're projecting that by fall this year that there'll be a pretty good capacity, and some of those things will be lifted with the COVID vaccine out there. So I'm feeling pretty good about launching Jump later this year of first location.
Awesome. Well, I got my fingers crossed, man, because I want all this stuff to come back. I want to go try Jump, so.
Dude, this like past year went by so fast. It's like weird. It's like nothing happened, and everything like, I don't know. It's almost like that year just like it
was an insane,
just happened.
Insane year. It was an absolutely insane year. I'm glad it's gone. you know, if I ever get to ride in a time machine, 2020 will not be a place I ever visit again. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Paradise, I have a question for you too on there if you're still on. Um, I'm interested in your VR experiences, feeling like they're real memories over time. I haven't experienced that yet. I've done quite a bit of VR, but more importantly, the comment you had above that about your fear. I actually had a lady come out that jumped. It was the older lady that came out extremely scared of heights, and she walked up to the edge and took 2 steps up, felt the edge, and said, "This is too real. I can't do it. It's not possible." And backed up, and she backed up 2 steps, and then out loud she said, "This is virtual. It's not real." And she stepped up and jumped off. It
Wow.
was
So
so
she actually
and she
did it.
flew, pulled her parachute, and
Wow.
she landed, and I took the helmet off of her, and she was actually shaking and crying because she was
Wow.
so happy that she actually did it. It was so awesome.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, like me and Alex have been out, we've done expos, we have put many, many people through their first VR experiences. And we have been through, we've done this with people that are, you know, these big masculine dudes that are like, oh, you can't scare me. What is this video game? Right? You put them in it and you put them in something like Richie's plank experience where, you know, you go up an elevator, the elevator opens and there's like a plank that just goes off the side of a building and you get to walk the plank. And I was so surprised so many times on how many of these big macho dudes were like, nope,
Yep.
can't do it. I cannot do it. Like their legs start shaking. They know it's fake. In their brain, they know it's fake, but their body is like, no, we're not chancing this.
Right.
We're not risking this.
And to lean more heavily into like, you know, this like memory thing. Like when I think about my memories of experiences in VR, I don't think about the room that I was in. You know, like
Right.
I remember the virtual experience, you know,
Mhm.
like I think that's like what we're like circling around here right
Yeah.
now. It's like that the fact that this technology has the ability to like create true actual memories is really fucking crazy because like when you think about your experiences, all they are is memories, right? Like,
Mhm.
you know, we were talking about when you jump, you're present. While you are experiencing it, you are present. You're not experiencing the memory, you're present. But
Mhm.
immediately afterwards, all it is a memory.
Mhm.
That's the only existence of it in your whole realm of reality is remembering that you did it. And when I think about that, the hours I spent playing Firewall Zero Hour, I don't think about, you know, my TV being on in front of me. I think about being in that space
Mhm.
with that gun in front of me.
Mhm.
Like you are there, you know,
Yeah.
for all intents and purposes, you are there, even with PSVR. So when you take it to hyper reality levels and you're adding the smells and the heat, it just
Mhm.
like further like cements those moments as like real memories worth holding on to.
Well, I was really personally glad to hear that this was multiplayer as well, because one of the things that cements memories into my brain is when I'm doing things in a virtual world with a friend.
Yeah.
I then feel not only like, you know, like I'm in Walking Dead Saints and Sinners all by myself killing zombies, but I feel like me and my friend went into this world and we had an experience. And that cements that as an actual real memory to me and some experiences, you know what I mean? It really, that sense of presence and that sense of sharing that space with someone else
Mm-hmm.
cements it into my mind as an actual thing.
Absolutely.
So,
Oh, and PD is responding to you, James. He says that his leg shook today in a VR experience. Um, first time in VR in the last 2 years that's happened, and he does daily VR videos, which he
yeah.
actually does. Paradise
Yeah.
Decay plays a different VR game every single day
It makes a video about
and
it.
makes a video about it.
Hardest working dude in VR.
And he leaves
Yeah.
a Steam review on Steam. He has like 10,000 Steam reviews. That's like something fucking insane. Like, what's the number, PD? Tell us the number. It's not even like that sounds like
Yeah.
an exaggeration. It's like barely an exaggeration.
Dude, yeah, PD is a legend in the VR world.
Yeah, he
for
has
sure.
done a lot
That's
of VR.
cool. We got to get you out to experience Jump then.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, and Paradise Decay's favorite game is Rush, which is a wingsuit game.
He said that's his favorite game.
Yeah, he told me that a little while ago. I mean, probably a few months ago. That dude plays so many hours of Rush. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
What?
I actually waited for days. He was putting out a video of like, what's Paradise Decay's favorite VR game? And I was like, this guy's played every game in the whole world. And he came on and he's like, it's Rush. I was like, what? But so now I'm really, really curious because like I would love to be there just to see Paradise Decay actually do this experience.
He's flying. What's going on, guys? Wow, this is really great.
feels like I'm flying, guys.
Feels like I'm flying. Wow, this is awesome, guys.
Love you, Petey. That'd be great. I'd love to see that. I'd love to experience the Paradise Decay Jump VR experience.
Well, you know, hopefully we'll all go together and we can all jump together. And James will be there too, and the 4 of us will all go and do a multiplayer jump, and he'll show us the ropes from his double black diamond jump spot.
Speaking of, like, we've made a shift now to you know, all the technology is pretty much proven out, and the pathway on the software side is all proven out. So now the conversation shifted to where do we want to jump? Like, what would be the coolest places to try, and or the most illegal places to try? So maybe I throw that question out to, you know, everybody that's watching out here. Like, where would you want to jump? Would you want to go to the Tenement Mountains in China, or would you want to jump into the sea and fly around in the water? Like, I mean, everything is possible. So it'd be interesting.
You know what's funny? I thought about water. Like, let's go into the Marianas Trench or something. You know, like where like it's literally like you will never ever ever go.
Yeah.
Like, it's impossible to go.
Yeah, you know, I would love to do something like jump off the not the Empire State Building, like the one in France.
Oh, the Eiffel Tower?
The Eiffel Tower. I would love to jump off the Eiffel Tower with a wingsuit. Just jump off from the top, fly over
10 seconds.
France. Yeah.
That was cool, I guess.
That'd be cool.
10-second flight.
Yeah.
Fly straight into a croissant.
Inside a jump, it could be a lot longer.
It's a virtual world. You get to control that. You know, the other thing, I've been to the Grand Canyon quite a few times living in Arizona. So I would love, you know, and at the Grand Canyon, just so you know, most of the places that you go, there are no railings. So you can just walk over to the edge, you can sit on the edge of the Grand Canyon. And being a resident here, you hear about people that fall off sometimes because, you know, there isn't a whole lot of safety precautions. There are some spots you can go that are a little bit more friendly, but looking, you know, sitting at the edge of the Grand Canyon, you know, I mean, I have thought, you know, in that moment, how sick would it be to have a wingsuit or something, a parachute to jump off, you know, but to do this all safely, I'm excited.
PD says Mars.
Mars.
That's a good one.
Ooh.
That's a good one.
Cool. It's a lot of dirt.
It's red as fuck. There's nothing there, but you're probably not going to make it there.
Yeah. True. True.
It's probably more likely that you'll experience Mars in virtual reality before you will in reality. So we can get 3D. I believe they get 3D scans from portions of those planets and the moon. So
I just actually
jump into a crater in Mars like that. That's probably happening.
I think it is. I backed up
you. We can make up
the Mars VR. Yeah. I backed a Mars VR project on Kickstarter, I believe it was, or Indiegogo or something like that. But it was, you know, there's a guy, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's on Twitter and, you know, we correspond sometimes, but he is creating this Mars VR experience. And I'm very much about space. I'd love to walk on Mars someday.
Dude, those rover panoramics are so insane. Wow. And did you see the video of the rover like coming in? Oh my God. That is so insane, man. Yeah. They put a camera a little off topic. They put a camera on the fucking new rover that just landed on Mars like a few days ago. And they put a camera up towards the parachute and down towards the ground. So you can see as it's like reaching the surface of the planet, and you can see like the deployment of the parachute, the release of the parachute. It's like you're on that thing going through, landing on Mars. Holy crap. Like as it gets close to the surface, you see like the wind like blowing all the dirt and stuff. And it's just like, oh my fuck, that is an alien spaceship landing on a fucking planet.
Yeah.
You know,
and they brought a thing that was like a UFO that originally entered the atmosphere, right? And then that UFO expanded out. It shot out the drone thing that attached to the rover, and then that fired up its engines, and then it took a crane and lowered it down to the surface and took off. It's something out of a sci-fi movie for real, dude.
It is mind-blowing, man.
But guys, there is actually a Steam VR home that is Mars, and it's actually everything you see is actual pictures that have come back from previous NASA rovers. So you can actually kind of see what it's like right now through Steam VR Home to stand on the surface of Mars.
And one day soon coming to Jump VR.
Heck yeah.
Mars Jump
Yeah,
you'll be able to
experience.
maybe fly by that building in Total Recall where Arnold was standing there trying to get people to have some air.
I love it. I mean, whatever. I'll give it to you just because I love that movie so much.
All right. All right, that's cool.
Are you guys Matrix fans by any chance?
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
One of the Matrix was actually a lot of inspiration for the Void came from the Matrix movies. The original ideas that I want to have for the Void is you would actually suit up and you would get all of your gear in the physical world, and then you would go into this prep room, and in the prep room it was the white room in the Matrix. They just basically load guns, whatever. Like load the jump program is actually from the Matrix, and pulling off the jump program in the Matrix would be really cool too. Like, so I think there's a lot of fun things we can do with IP out there too.
Well, especially because in the Matrix, that's like true fundamental like self work that program is intended for.
Right.
That program is literally intended to get him to let go. It's like, no, let go. Let go. And like if we're making programs to force people, and not force them, but like encourage them to let go, then we're gonna see a huge shift to James's point. Like it's going to change people fundamentally because they're going to be doing all of this inner work that they weren't even prepared to do. But all of a sudden they get put into in a situation where they have an option to let go and they feel like it's a safe place to do it. Right. Like if I'm 2 hits of acid deep and I'm letting go, I might feel like I'm like about to die, like there's a lot of fear that gets kicked up. But when you do stuff in VR, like it really is a safe place. It's a safe you can connect to that just like Granny did. She took a step back and she's like, I'm tripping balls. It's okay. Like, so, I mean, I think that there is something very profound on the base layer here that is being scratched at. And if we do start to see stuff like the actual jump program from the Matrix being introduced into people's daily lives, people are going to be becoming awesome.
Yeah, we will be. We will eventually. I think. We're gonna get to the point with brain computer interfacing that James will not be actually thinking about an actual wingsuit to put on someone anymore, but how to create that in the user's mind. So we're gonna be getting there.
Duck dive dodge.
Paradise. Yeah, simulation theory, man. We could spin off, but that would be a whole other show. I can tell you that my reality has totally shifted because of the hundreds, probably thousands of people that I went through in the Void. In the Void, early on, with the backpack computers, I spent an evening just seeing how long the backpack could actually spin until it ran out of battery, and I was in there for a while.
Nice.
So I just like would go into the early Void experiences and just kind of sit down and chill out and look at the environment. And it definitely shifted and inspired me to look into other things. So enlightenment techniques and meditation, all kinds of stuff. So absolutely, but that'll have to be a completely different show.
Well, we'll have to have you back to dive into some of that stuff. Maybe without diving too deep down the rabbit hole, we can touch on your perspective on some of this BCI stuff that people are talking about, because I feel like that's where we're going in this conversation. We talk about removing the friction, making it a more one-to-one experience. Like, do you see brain interfacing as a viable future for that?
And to add on to that, Gabe Newell of Valve, who is worth more money than God, works on brain computer interfacing. That's all he really works on, because that's his passion, right? And he has said specifically that any entertainment companies that are not looking into brain computer interfacing to replace traditional forms of entertainment, it will be an extinction level event for these companies. Wow. Extinction level event. So that's a pretty big claim, right?
Yeah, very big claim. As far as using virtual reality to tap into some of these things, I think it's totally possible. I can share a whole bunch of things, but we're really good on the rabbit hole down that way.
All right, fair enough. So in that case, we'll just kind of like start to wrap this up, because there's no way we're getting into anything without cracking open a whole can of worms.
I know we keep getting deeper.
Yeah.
I know, like,
which is fine. It's great. I mean, it's a real. I mean, I think it's the real opportunity in the shift that you'll see in the VR market here in the next little bit, especially with Void. I mean, with the jump making such a big shift in how this feels to the individual. I think there's a group of people, there's a handful of people in the world that understand the true potential of virtual reality simulations, and I think we're going to see a huge shift. There's one of my friends, one of a friends of mine is a neuroscientist at UCSF. His name's Adam Ghazali. He's a really cool guy. I've done a couple projects with him, but his group actually just got a FDA approval for an app that helps kids with ADHD. So he literally, like, that happened last year and nobody really knows about it. But why that's significant is the FDA gave approval for digital medicine. You can prescribe this app that his group created, and they used EEG and brainwave simulations to create algorithms that help these kids deal with ADHD. So if he pulled back the curtain to digital medicine, and even just looking at some of the things that we could do, that our minds can do, there's miracles that happen all the time because people have belief systems. Imagine if you could be put into a belief system that allows you to expand that potential. There's people on the planet that are better at visualizing things than other people, and I feel like those people potentially have better success in doing those types of things. But we can put people in a virtual simulation that helps them visualize, and we don't know what the potential of that will be, but they already opened the door to digital medicine.
We're
going there. Dude, you are super awesome, man. Like, you are a way better guest for this show than I imagined. Like, thank you for bringing your perspective. You are right. We're right. I'm right. Yeah. Let's talk again. Let's talk again sometime, and we'll dive down the rabbit hole a little bit further in our next conversation, and we can kind of get into some of that, because we really love to talk about the philosophical implications of virtual reality whenever we have an opportunity. And it sounds like you would have something to bring to that conversation. So
I mean, what an amazing thought. I mean, really, people are. I got to go down this just a little bit, just 5 minutes, right? Like people,
just like a few seconds.
Yeah, I am a huge believer in the law of attraction and manifesting and things like that, and to be able to envision things and meditate on things and turn them to reality, to be able to take virtual reality experiences to further trick your mind into thinking these things have already become, or to really envision these things, I think is going to be could very well be a very big game changer. Right. For the people that really know how to use it. And I would love, I'm really looking forward to the future. Like, I really wish I had a time machine so I could go forward and then come back and be like, guys, just wait. You know what I mean? So I really think the potential of virtual reality is way above and beyond what the average user really envisions.
Like, if you can make the life that you want by telling yourself, and like by looking in the mirror every day and being like, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. Like, if people talk about that as the law of attraction, like, if you can do that, how many times do I put you into a VR experience where you're a successful version of who you want to be before that behavior translates into the real world? Like, I think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, you have people that have miraculously healed themselves because they don't accept the reality that they actually have cancer, or whatever, right? It's a belief. Maybe we could do 3D interior scans of a person's cancer, and through EEG and brainwave function, we could actually have them visualize that cancer going away. And if they did that simulation long enough, who knows? Like, those are the experiments that I'm actually really excited to start playing around with and seeing. With Jump, a step towards some of that. With Jump, we can accurately predict an eighth of a second into the future that the person's going to jump before they jump. The whole thing's automated. Like, nobody's
we talk about that shit on here too, man. We talk about that.
Predict into the future if they will jump. So this is interesting.
You make like a really distinct curve when you jump, and your center of gravity and velocity are very predictable, and so we can actually predict an eighth of a second in the future that you're actually going to jump. And the whole simulation is watching what you're doing and making adjustments based on your decisions. So
So I recently just watched the show on Hulu called Devs. And anyone out there that has Hulu access that has not seen the show, go watch it immediately. So this show is about quantum computing and simulation theory and being able to see clearly into the future and into the past. And this is very, that really just struck that chord with me, being able to get a little bit into the future to make that accurate prediction of what's going to happen. So I really think, when we add quantum computing, with artificial intelligence, virtual or brain computer interfacing, game over, man.
Yeah,
Or game on.
we use some of that. I like to say that every subsequent jump is better than the last because we use machine learning to more accurately predict when a person is going to jump. So
Wow.
we're doing some of that, like steps in that direction, and it's all to make the simulation more personalized and better for people that are there. So,
all right. Well,
thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, of course, James. If if somebody wants to follow you, if we want to follow you or Jump or whatever, like, what's the best way? Where do we get updates? Are you on social? How do we follow you?
I am. Most of our tags are at limitlessflight.com. Or at limitlessflight is a handle, and then some of them are limitless jump. It depends on the platform, and then you can visit us at www.limitlessflight.com. We'll get you there too, and you can kind of see some updates there. There's a newsletter that you can sign up for, and we'll be publishing, probably to the people that have the newsletter, we'll be publishing updates to that first, so people will see our locations and kind of what's coming soon. And then we're on Facebook. We're on all of the platforms. We launched our TikTok. Just a quick thing on our TikTok. We launched our TikTok, and you can look up Limitless Flight on TikTok. But we launched our TikTok, and on the third day, we launched our second video. And on the sixth day, we had 6 million views of that video. And
wow.
Then a week later, we have 9.1 views on that. So people want to fly. Like, a lot of people have dreamt about flying. So we're pretty pumped about the social media side of this. And, leaning into that heavily. Every single person that jumps will have a video of their experience that they can then share that moment with other people online. So it should be awesome.
Very cool.
Amazing.
So right here on the monitor below me, you will see a few of the links, but below in the video description, you will find every way to possibly connect to James and Jump VR and anything you want to learn about these guys. So please go into the description and support our guest, because this is going to be an absolutely amazing experience. I really believe that this is going to be like a life-changing simulation, and just the fact that someone's able to create a simulation that's so lifelike is just blows my mind.
Well, and honestly, dude, for me, it's just the fact, after talking with you, I can tell that like you're passionate about this for the reasons that I want the people who make these things to be passionate about it, and I appreciate and respect that. And we are honored to have you on the show, man. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks, guys. It's been really fun. And thanks, everybody online, to jumping on and checking us out.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Say goodbye to James Jensen, everyone, CEO of Jump VR. Say goodbye.
Adios, buddy.
See ya. It has been a pleasure having him. Well, that was awesome. That was so much fun. What a great guest to have on the show. And thank you, everyone in the chat who's joined us today. Obscure Nerd, Paradise Decay, like being the MVP in this episode. Like, you're like practically our fourth guest today, PD. So thanks for being here. Delirium, Drew, everybody who's been through, Steve, Lissa, Danny Hunkley. Thank you guys for being here. We are going to continue doing this show. I think next week we're going to do another episode, and holy shit, it's Andy Southern, Obscure Nerd. Dude, hey, you're gonna be on the show next week, man. So he's in chat right now. You can click on him and go to his channel and check him out. He's a comedian, he's a VR gamer and YouTuber, and he's super awesome. And we are super excited to have you on the show next week, dude.
See you then.
I guess that's it, huh?
I think so, man. I think that's it.
Boom. See you guys next week with Andy, Obscure Nerd. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye-bye.